Well, good morning, everybody. This is going to be a continuation of the big move, and this is what our living room looks like. This is a relatively small home. We went from about a 4,000 square foot home to literally a half that, so it definitely is interesting. There's the housekeeper. We don't have a housekeeper, only kidding. Now, this is what we have stacked up, boxes and everything in the garage. But we're getting there. So I'll be continuing this outside with our dog Jamie. Okay, this is our pretty cool front yard. We went from a relatively densely populated area in Davie, Florida, to what we consider a sparsely populated area in Naples, Florida, which is pretty darn cool. Now, last night, that rubbish barrel you're looking at was all tipped over and everything was taken out. And you have to believe this, it was from a bear, and it's happened twice already. So we've got to figure out what the heck we're doing so that we don't get everything strewn all over. But everything, there's always a solution to everything. Even though we're in a basically a treed, not a lot of pavement, it's still, as we are having across the United States and the world, very hot weather. So it's about 9:30 in the morning, and yes, it's still and getting very hot. Now there's one way down. Our road goes down like that, and then we turn around, and that's the road. Haven't been to the end that we're looking at now. We will. You know, it's one of those things where you gotta basically look and explore. Now, the interesting thing in this neighborhood, almost everybody, I mean, that unfortunately is an abandoned home. No, not abandoned. There's supposed to be an old lady in there, and we don't see her, and it kind of scares us that hopefully something hasn't happened to us, but it's really none of our business right now, so we're kind of letting it go. But what I started to say was, all these homes have gates, usually closed and locked, and signs that say no trespassing. Now, I know that's not there for the bears. The bears can't read, so I guess they're thinking that I like my isolation and make sure you don't do anything to change that. So anyway, we have electric here, which is good. One thing we don't have is cell service to any extent. We got here on Saturday, and basically what happened is we didn't have internet until Monday. So what happened was we, in essence, had no cell phone. What a thing to basically miss. We're coming up to a property that has absolutely nothing on it except trees and bushes, and this little fence that you're seeing that has the sign, as you can probably read, posted, no trespassing, keep out. I guess I'm trying to figure out why we would want to trespass on that piece of property. It's just woods. But hey, I guess if you own it, you put up a no trespassing sign. There you go. Here's another home on the other side. They got double electric gates. And I don't know, maybe that's actually because of the bear issues. Now that I think about it. Because the bears come out. The other thing that this area, we're in a Florida panther area, and it's basically, of course, protected. And this is about the only location that has Florida panthers. Now, what's coming to greet us here, you can see that is not a Florida panther. It's just a nice little doggy that's saying, "Don't get too close to the fence." Hi, baby. How are ya? The other thing that's funny on these properties that say no trespassing, they not only have one sign, they have a sign about every 15 feet. I guess they're saying, well, if we don't put it here, they'll think that even though it's the property is no trespassing, that we have to put it all along the fence to make sure everybody remembers. Kind of weird, but that's okay. We came from an area that was too crowded. Neighbors sometimes that are not the best neighbors in the world. And the old saying is you can't choose your neighbors. So you gotta be careful. Either A, you have neighbors for neighbors, or B, you move into a home that really doesn't have neighbors. Well, you're looking at, we cleaned this all up this morning. No less than 45 minutes ago. And the reason why it's on its side is because we have bears. So they must have come back to say, hey, I want what is there. Wow, amazing. Okay, we're heading down the side of the house. What you're seeing is our water system. Most locations in Florida, do not have city or town water. They have to have a super duper water system. Now this one is extremely high end. And what you're looking at, besides the aerator, a pressure tank, the cylinders that you're looking at, though, that's whole house reverse osmosis. Now that means, because the water quality probably isn't as best as it should be, so that basically has it where the whole house is the best water you can have. And it makes a big difference, especially when you're taking a shower. Okay, this is our backyard. And I showed in one of my other updates that where you're looking at is where we're putting a building that will be my office, my content creating studio. Looking forward to it. Reason we're doing that is there's just no room inside the home to do it the way you should, because we went from a 4,000 square foot home to a 2,000 square foot home. So you can imagine it just isn't the space. So we're going to have that ready to go. What I'm doing now is I'm just walking into our backyard, which is very, very long. Obviously this section is fenced in. That's a shed that somebody else put in, I guess. Anyway, I just want to show you, and I'm doing this also for the first time, is going to the back of the property, because this isn't where in South Florida you have neighbor, neighbor, neighbor. Even though we had about an acre of land, we still had neighbor problems. The only neighbor problems we're going to have here, basically bears or panthers. Okay, I'm still continuing back to the end of the property. You get to a point where you can see trees that is not, they are kind of, as you would say, wild. Got a tree that fell down, you can see. We're blessed. Although we didn't think we were going to have to worry about bears, but that's the way it is. Not every place has everything you want or don't want. So the property, as I said, continues back. I probably won't go too far into the bush, as we would say. Oh, this is so nice. Maybe we'll find some buried treasure back here. That would help. That would really help. Again, here, I'm still not sure yet. I've got to kind of look at the survey and see how far we actually go back. But we go much further from where I am now. Anyway, I'm going to turn around and start walking back. And I really appreciate you letting me update you on the move. One of my calls I have to make now is to Verizon, because when we got here Saturday, as I mentioned before, we didn't have any internet yet, and there was no cell service. I could not, for 2 days, do anything with my phone. I couldn't text, I couldn't phone. Nothing. That is just not acceptable. It's, yeah, when you have Wi-Fi, your phones work, but that's not related to Verizon directly. In this case, we have a Comcast internet connection, which is about 1 megabit, 1,000 MIPS, and we're good, but that's not anything related to Verizon. So we're paying Comcast and we're paying Verizon, but really the reason we have any reception at all is because of Comcast. Anyway, I will keep you updated. I'll be doing updates as something happens. We're waiting for the estimate for the slab we have to put inside this fence area. It's going to be a slab that's 30 feet long by 16 feet wide, and that's where the building that's being built by Florida Shed Outlet in Orlando, they'll be bringing it down. It's done, ready to go. So we basically have to get that all flattened, graded, and we're going to be putting probably a slab that's, I'm going to say, maybe 4 or 5 inches high. The more we deal in this world of climate change and floods, we need to put something up higher. The house is much higher, but as you can see, looking at the slope, the building would be much lower than the house. And the basic rule is, we get into FEMA, but the basic rule is anything you put in like what we're doing has to be at the level of the street. So we get that measured out, and we are going to go probably level of the street plus 2 inches, just to take into consideration, even though we're not near any water, we might still have a problem. Anyway, thank you so much for listening today. Appreciate it. It's hot.